Next chapter, Act 6 notes. Next note, loyalty through blood. News has reached us through the tendrils of night that the ritual to the west has failed and Bloodlord Thelonis himself has fallen. Under the weight of these tragedies, there are some among you who would surrender their faith, cease their devotion, and abandon our great cause. This will not be tolerated. You must maintain your fealty or find yourself hanged and drained with the rest of the faithless rabble. This is merely another in a long series of tribulations that line our path to greatness. Thon challenges us, tests our faith, but we must not falter. You, the unyielding children of blood, must seek out the weakest among you and punish them for their faltering will. Thelonis is gone, but another will rise in his place, and the faithful shall be rewarded in kind. Through devotion to Thon and dedication to our cause, we will find our way once more. Altotrake, Grand Priest. Next note, Missive to the Mourndale Bloodbound. Brothers and sisters of blood, disturbing rumors have reached my ears. Rumors that some of you have begun questioning our cause, questioning those who hear the calling of the void. You believe you have been misled by false prophets, but allow me to reassure you. I had my loyal bloodbinders bring forth 36 of those who would question our resolve in these trying times. Through their lack of vision, yours shall be rewarded. Their blood shall serve where their wills could not. Behold the fruit of their sacrifice, new rifts that reach into the very heart of the dead god's realm. Through them shall arise the agents of torment, beings of pure darkness that will spill forth the blood that is rightfully Thon's. Do not dread, my brothers and sisters, your faith in Thon is not misplaced. We will not allow the failures of one to delude our grand cause. We will call into the darkness, and the darkness will bring forth such might as to shake the very foundations of Cairn. A new day of reckoning will come, a day where the faithful shall stomp out the false gods and restore the glory of Thon. Altotrake, Grand Priest. Next note, a calling to shadows. We are as lost children, alone, purposeless, gazing into the darkness with only faith as our guide. We flay our flesh and paint the world in blood as we desperately seek clarity from the depths of the void, but there is no answer. We beseech you, fiends of the void. Heed our call and bathe this world in shadow. Come forth, progenitor of darkness, guide the children of blood to new glory that we may all become one with Thon. Guide us, Eketzel, so that we may purge this world of the faithless. Kabbalist Gull. Next note, Aimee Brenoch's journal, first entry. I don't know why I'm still writing in this thing. I suppose it's because Errol can be very convincing when he wants to. He says I should keep a record of days so we might look back on our lives and remember the best times. These may be the finest of our days, my sweet Aimee. Best to remember them while we can, he always says. I think he's right, and I suppose that's why I keep coming back to this journal. He's usually right. I've learned that more and more since we left the city. The city is too crowded, my love. We should leave this place and make our home in the countryside, he said, and so we did. We just packed up whatever we could carry and walked out through the city gates. I was terrified. I couldn't imagine where or how we'd live out here. Malmouth was my home. I was born there amidst the din and grime of the Steelap district. But Errol was right. The city was too crowded and this countryside is truly beautiful. We found ourselves a small stead, rich land for farming, and more space than anyone could ask for. It's the perfect place to start a family, and that's just what we'll be doing. I'm now 2 months pregnant with our first child. It's going to be a girl. I just know it. I've been waiting for the right moment to tell Errol, but he's been so busy, toiling about in the farm and traveling back and forth to the city for supplies. I won't be able to hide it from him much longer. He's going to be so happy. The finest of our days, indeed. Aimee. Next note, Aimee Brenoch's journal, second entry. Something horrible has happened in the city. Just this morning, our farm was overrun by people, dozens of them. They were fleeing Malmouth, some running, some barely able to walk. They all looked terrified, and they were mumbling about wretched things happening in the city. A number of them kept going on about missing family members or people being taken from their homes in the night. I don't know what to believe, but it all sounds terrifying. I tried my best to help as many as I could, but there were just so many and I am stricken with dread. Errol left yesterday for his weekly trip to the city for supplies. He should have been back this morning, but there's no sign of him. I pray to the gods that he hasn't gotten tangled up in whatever is happening in there. If I don't hear from him by morning, I will go to the city to find him. It'll be a different journey with our little angel on the way, but I can't go on thinking Errol might need my help. Aimee. Next note. Note to Aimee Brenoch. My lovely Aimee. I have no hope that this message will find his way to you, but it offers me comfort to lay out my final thoughts to you. I still remember the look on your face when you discovered you were with child. How you thought you could hide it from me all those long weeks. There was no hiding it. The joy was written all over your face. I will cherish that memory to the last of my hours. You must forgive me, my love, for I will not be returning to you. Something indescribable has happened to the city. There are so many people dead, killed in fighting that broke out overnight. There are other things, unimaginable things, terrors that roam the city hunting people down and slaughtering them wherever they hide. I am told there is no way out of the city now. The gates are barred and the bridge has been raised. But there are still people here, Aimee, people I can help. I beg for your forgiveness. Should these words reach you, I implore you to leave this place behind. Leave the farm immediately and never return. I fear that whatever has happened in Malmouth will spread beyond the city walls. Move swiftly and speak to no one. You must save yourself and our child. Find a place, a hidden place, and raise her well. Wherever you go, Aimee, if I make it out of this place, I will find you. That is a promise. With all my love. Errol Brenoch. Next note. Redlight Misgivings. Dear Madam Arnia, you are a wicked shrew, and it is with great pleasure I am writing you this letter. The city was in a panic, and instead of keeping us safe, you lowered the rates to keep your pockets lined with gold. Well, reap what you sow, you ravenous cow. While you were busy counting the money made off our backs, I have taken all the girls with me. No longer will we be your doxies. I don't know if this letter will even reach you. As we left, I could see hateful green flames spreading across the other side of the city. I can only hope the poxy house is burning down around you as you read this, and the last thing you think of is me taking everything from you. May all the dark gods take you and pass you around until you are nothing more than a bloody used rag. Million. Next note. Letter to Councilman Cole. Dear Mr. Cole. Your Honor, or whatever you call yourself. Now I ain't no gentleman or no high-class business person, and I imagine you highfalutin folk up on Crown Hill don't pay no heed to lowly Candle District roaches like me. But I gotta tell ya, you're gonna have a rebellion on your hands if you don't pay no attention to the conditions down here in the pits. Things are out of control. There ain't no clean water or food. The streets are filled with garbage, and there's just too damn many people. I don't know why new construction in the Candle District has stopped. There just ain't no more places for people to live. You can't just keep treating folks like this and expect them to put up with it. Now, don't be taking my words as a threat. Because you're new to your job, I'm writing this letter as a warning. The people down here have chosen me to represent them, and that's what I mean to do. I don't know what all's been going on up there, but people down here have had just about enough. I do hope, for all of our sakes, you can find time in your busy schedule to tend to the issues we face down here. Sincerely, Samuel Rackford. Next note. From the office of Councilman Cole. Dear Mr. Rackford. My lovely new secretary Margaret has brought to my attention the plight of the masses there in our beloved Candle District. Such a treasure as those historic streets must not go untended, and I truly do feel for those who are forced to live in such squalid conditions. Now, I have done everything in my power and the power of my prestigious office to make certain the situation is rectified. The first thing that's going to happen is an envoy of wagons will be dispatched to the Candle District to collect the women and children. These, most vulnerable, citizens will be moved to brand new housing here on Crown Hill where they will be cared for. Following that, all able-bodied men will be given the opportunity to work on the construction of a new production facility. With your help, the people of the Candle District will become the foundation of a glorious new Malmouth. I don't expect there will be any issues from your fellow citizens in this matter. Now will there? I am after all only looking out for the good of the people. Regards, Councilman in Residence. Drevin S. Cole. Next note. Rennoch the Rat's warning. Doom set upon us in the night. It came suddenly and without warning, heralded by the screams and death call of men waking to their end. The guard barracks was hit first. They were slaughtered, run through like sleeping hens. Their assailants, horrors like nothing man could imagine. I watched them from my shack, stiff as stone, stricken by what I saw. In mere moments, those things had rid the Candle District of its only hope of defense. Then they poured out onto the streets like a putrid green wave of death. The screams of men and the elderly filled my ears, and the air became thick with smoke from the green fires that now washed over the district. A strange curiosity urged me to watch. I wanted to see more. So I made my way up to the southern wall, moved silently along it, and marveled as death swept through the slums below. Men scattered like legions of roaches and were stomped out by the advancing horde. At first, a small group made it to the southern bridge and crossed before it was raised. The rest fled north to the Crown Hill gates only to find them barred and locked. As the horrors closed in behind them, some climbed the walls in desperation, but its slippery stones were hewn to keep the rabble at bay. Most fell to their deaths, crashing down onto the scrambling masses below. Those few who made it to the top met with the blade of the Crown Hill guards, who showed no care for the plight of those beneath. The slaughter rages on for a time. Now the slums and hovels are silent. They have begun to seep the city, collecting corpses of the fallen and corrupting those unfortunate souls who survived. I rest here now, with no will to continue, no desire to escape. There is no point. The world stands without hope against such foes, and so I will spend my final moments in peace. Rennoch the Rat. Next note. Ripped note. First half. I don't know who I am writing this for, but the words give me comfort and reason to go on living for a moment longer. I am utterly alone, tired, and starving. Fatigue clouds my mind as supplies run out. I've tried desperately to find a way out of this wretched city, but there is no hope. The bridge is up and guarded by a gargantuan creature of nightmarish origins. I've no chance of scaling the wall, not without revealing myself to their patrols or falling to my death like the others. And so I've holed up in this old attic with only a small window to observe the world below. I can hear them outside. They moan and wail as if echoing the dying cries of the creatures they once were. They're scouring the city, collecting the dead and those too weak to continue fighting. I can only imagine what terrors await those who are captured. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before I'm found and share in their fate. I can only hope death comes quickly. Next note. Ripped note. Second half. Everything has changed. There may be a way out of this place after all. Just this morning, as I was hopelessly peering out of my tiny window, one of the sewer drains down on the street opened and a man crawled out. He looked strong, healthy even, and he was wearing some sort of armor. Since then, 3 others have crawled out of the same drain. There are others still out there. Maybe they're living down here. Maybe they're searching for other survivors. I must find a way to make contact with them or some way to sneak down into the sewers. This evening, at dusk, I will leave my hiding place to see if I can find a way down into the sewers. If you find this note, you should do the same. There's still hope for us beneath the city. Next note. City Guard's log. Last night, the Steel Lab barracks was attacked. It happened suddenly in the dead of the darkest hour. The doors were smashed open and a flood of terrors charged through the brothers of the guard like a butcher through a flock of lambs. Their screams as they woke from sleep to the darkest nightmare still ring in my ears. I was crippled with fear. If it weren't for Captain Wilfer's quick action, none of us would have survived. My squad and I were fortunate to have been assigned to an overflow area adjacent to the main sleeping quarters, as we were just transferred there the previous day. When the attack started, the captain barged in and began shouting orders at us. Our training took over and we followed, barricading the main door proceeding outside through the back. What awaited us was unthinkable. At Wilfer's command, we moved silently about the ruins of the city, from barracks to barracks, in search of other guardsmen. But they all contained the same horrific scene. Everyone killed in their sleep, at their posts, just slaughtered. I'm beginning to fear that we're all that's left. Wilfer ordered us to protect some civilians while he checks nearby for another group of survivors from the city guard. Just hours ago, we found a dying man who claimed that a stronghold was established near Candle District by a full contingent of guardsmen. I pray that it's true. We've seen such horrors today, and the men are inured and broken. I'm not sure we can muster the will to on. Gods be with us. Riken Baron. Next note. Nearan's work log. Per your request, I will be documenting the work logs here. I hope this information is useful in your endeavors. The Black Irons have been as busy as ever with military shipments, but overwhelming requests from the other harbor masters have had us unloading commercial boats as well. It seems the quantity of goods entering the city has doubled in the last few months. We've gone from 2 ships daily to 4 or more. Interestingly enough, a large number of the new ships are coming from Port Valberry. They've been arriving in the early hours of the morning twice or more weekly. Every one of them crammed to the gunwale with crated goods marked for delivery to Crown Hill, recipient unspecified. Don't know what the fine folk such as yourself need with so many deliveries, but I suppose I'm not paid to ask such questions. Had an incident of insubordination recently though when I caught young Orth walking around with a strange crystal, sharp as a blade and green like tarnished copper. I asked him where he'd gotten it, and he was naturally mum about it, but threats to his job got through to him right fast. He said he stole it from one of the Crown Hill deliveries, didn't think nothing of it. I had him put it back where he found it. I saw it fit to discipline him by half a day's pay, to which he agreed. I don't presume we'll have any more problems for Morith, and I do not recommend further punishment. He's a good lad, just stupid. That about sums things up for last week. Let me know if this is what you were looking for. I will continue to report on a weekly basis, as requested. Nearan Leaner. Next note, letter to Ronald Marion. I don't know what Marcell thinks he's doing ousting the council and appointing his cronies to the emptied seats. I cannot imagine a less dignified, more depraved group of individuals has ever served as the leadership of our fine city. What right does he have to return after such long absence, pursuing his own goals in the capital, and begin imposing policy on the high families? It has been the birthright of my family to serve on the city council for 4 generations. I am not about to stand idly by and allow the Marcell family to manipulate the political structure of our city, and I do hope you feel the same. I will be filing an official complaint directly to the High Council and the Lord Regent's Office of Erelin, and I ask that you and your house support me in refutation of Theodin Marcell's illegitimate claim to power. I have also heard incredibly disturbing rumors about his education at a medical institution there in the capital. These rumors claim he was forced to leave after an egregious misuse of power. If this is true, it may add legitimacy to our claim. In the meantime, I am taking steps to gather opposition against the blatant political ambitions of the Marcell house and plan to contact each of the high houses of Crown Hill individually, seeking their support. Yours is the first I have reached out, as our families have proven to be staunch allies in the political sea of our fine city. I am well prepared to take any and all action against Marcell and the families of those buffoons he's appointed to the council, and I hope you will stand by me when that day comes. With regards, Frederick Greystone. Next note, letter to Theodin Marcell. I understand full well what your proposal was, and I agreed to all terms, but I had no idea you intended to enact your plans so rapidly. The dissolution of the sitting council and the appointment of new members of your own choosing is a bold move, but it has put myself, as well as the other houses who agreed to join in your arrangement, at grave risk of being defamed. Just this morning, I received a missive from House Greystone wherein Frederick Greystone threatened to report you to the High Council of Erewin and asked for my support in his refutation of your illegitimate claim to power. For now, I have no choice but to go along with his little coup so as to defend the reputation of House Marion. Greystone also had a number of interesting accusations about your time in the capital. I would very much like to discuss them in person. Additionally, our operations in the Candle District have encountered steep opposition. The meager roaches which infest the streets feel that they can make demands of Crown Hill and are threatening rebellion if they are not met. While I have no doubt you will honor your part of our little arrangement, I pray for the sake of both our great houses that you have a solution to deal with the ever-expanding problem that is the growing mass of wretches who consider the Candle District home. Respectfully, Ronald Marion. Next note. Council report to Theodin Marcell. I am pleased to report that, despite initial delays, our efforts in Port Valberry have paid off, and the full measure of our plan is coming to fruition. Reports from High Advisor Van Aldrich indicate that the collection of specimens is now running without interference, and they will be packaged and prepared for your personal needs post-haste. It seems our investment in that vessel was well placed, as you believed it would. Our remaining challenge is moving the specimens through the harbor. I have diverted the deliveries to the Black Iron docks, where closer scrutiny of cargo is less probable due to the frequent military shipments, and the overbearing schedule we've imposed upon the dock workers is keeping them too busy to ask questions. Despite that, we currently have surprisingly little oversight there. However, Vernoch of the Port Authority has proven to be a pleasantly simple target. He is a petty and insecure man, traits that make for easy pickings. Through him, we have ordered the harbor masters to issue weekly reports highlighting unusual activity or unexpected arrivals. This allows us to monitor harbor activity more closely and silence any unfortunate leaks of our plans before we are ready to execute the glorious dawn. Swiftly dealing with accidents will sow fear and distrust among the dock workers, ensuring that further incidents are avoided. Additionally, work on the great houses of Crown Hill has been proceeding rapidly. As has been quite common among these humans, the wealthy people of this city are conceited, disloyal, and power-hungry. They fight, even amongst their own families, with but the slightest provocation. The Council shall continue to encourage such infighting until such a time as we have gained sufficient influence among the city's elite and selected the most susceptible vessels. Respectfully, Councilman and residents. Albaran Rain. Next note, a new consensus. Our recent setbacks in Homestead and beyond shall not be taken lightly. However, I believe we may bend this unfortunate situation in our favor. We must not wither at the hapless prodding of such feckless creatures. While the humans are blindly focused upon the machinations of the dead god's children, we must take this opportunity to realign our priorities. At the recommendation of Overlord Van Aldrich, I decree a change to a recent consensus. It's then a consensus that the Shaper of Flesh be recalled to Malmouth immediately and allowed to finish his latest work without further interruptions. Progress on the flesh works has stalled in his absence, a grave miscalculation. Marcell will be returned to his ruling seat in Malmouth, where his focus will once again be upon concluding the growth of the factory, with him at its heart. This project must not be allowed to suffer any further delays. A shortage of specimens will thusly not be tolerated. All nearby regions are to double collection and begin rerouting all shipments to Malmouth immediately. Adjunct Orin Vostra, 4th of the Circle of 5. Next note, birthing success. I am pleased to report that our recent experimentations upon human female specimens have been exceptionally successful. It appears the hosts are far more receptive of our impregnation methods than previously thought. Additionally, younger, more fit specimens have shown incredibly rapid rates of development and recovery. Their bodies are more durable and longer lasting, allowing us to increase the rate and frequency of impregnation, with astonishing results. These specimens have proven capable of hosting 2 or more incipient ovules per womb. We have reduced the required gestation period by half, and, due to the longevity of the younger hosts, we believe we may be able to further accelerate the process. I have full confidence that we can make further improvements, so long as we maintain a steady supply of specimens. However, with the population rapidly dwindling in Malmouth, it may be time to draw upon our reserves of living subjects from Erelin and beyond. Next note, Missive to the Master of Flesh. First, I must apologize for my tone in our earlier exchange. Your recent experimentations in Malmouth had the Circle concerned that you were diverging from the established consensus. We now see that we have erred in our judgment. The Circle finds the results of your experimentation upon living tissue to be of the highest interest. If the findings are indeed as promising as you assert, then a new consensus shall be ordained without delay, one that takes these new parameters into consideration in our grand vision. Which brings us to the other matter which has spurred this communication. The Circle has been made aware of stirrings within the ether that may prove concerning. Great eyes now turn their attention towards this world. If they are made aware of what has transpired here, then all we have created, all we gained, may be in jeopardy. Our grand vision must not be interrupted by cosmic ruminations. Victory is at hand, but we have to claim it. It is prudent that you execute your role without fail, and I trust that we shall experience no further complications, Shaper of Flesh. No further delays shall be tolerated. We can no longer afford to be patient. Adjunct Orin Vostra, 4th of the Circle of 5. Next note, to Shatter a city. I arrive within the birth city of my vessel as dictated by consensus. I shall now make it my tireless task to ensure that our operations in Malmouth proceed as planned and within the necessary time constraints. This vessel will prove ideal in the city's downfall. He was educated in the capital at the behest of his wealthy family with powerful connections among Malmouth's elite. He lacks all pretense of society or compassion, devoid of empathy for his fellow man. All he craved was knowledge that others should shun or find sickening. To encourage such crude pursuits was only natural, and now he is mine. With the guise of Theodin Marcell, I shall carve into the city's elite and exploit the corrupted heart that beats within. How does one shatter a city? By allowing the rot festering within its fragile existence to flourish. And by my hand, it shall grow magnificent indeed. Theodin Marcell, Surgeon. Next note, Journal of Inquisitor Creed, 10th entry. The Taken has forged a path from Burwich, through the Gloomwald, and descended again into the very void itself to resurface with none other than Ulgrim. I find it impossible now to dismiss the idea that he is indeed the Ulgrim of legend and an immortal ascendant. As much as I am grateful to have such a powerful ally in this war, I cannot help but feel a little on edge when he is present. Between Ulgrim and the recent rumors of Modrigan, I am concerned that other divinities may also begin involving themselves in worldly affairs, as it is said they did more commonly in ancient times. This leads me back to the lingering mystery of Kaiman. It is apparent that he and his followers are drawing power from some godlike force, but who or what? I am very doubtful of Kaiman's claim that it is Empyrean that guides him, as he initially suggested. The power I sensed in Kaiman's emissary to Homestead had a feeling of malevolence to it. Kaiman was once a Brethren Inquisitor, but he went rogue in the years before the Grim Dawn. He is clearly not ethereal, but I fear he's entered into some manner of dark pact with an unknown power. Certainly if Empyrean, the high god of legend, returned to Cairn, a power such as that would be felt on a larger scale than merely one raving fanatic leading a group of vagabonds. Nonetheless, whatever entity is behind Kaiman's chosen, clearly it does possess significant power, and I am troubled, not knowing its identity or motivations. Next note, clipping from Ivonda's memory. Under spire, under floor, where the herald laid to rest. Down the stairs, a hidden door, a key where flaming coals are set. Next note, Katrine's note to Alice. My precious Alice, I have failed you. I have searched as far as my meager body will carry me, and now I am dying. As my path comes to an end, I find my heart is filled with dread. I wish only to hold you one last time, to hear the rhythm of your heart, to see your warm smile, but I know this cannot be. The world has no places for wishes and hope has left me. But I pray that somehow, beyond reason, you have survived the horrors that wash over this land. Wherever I go, whatever I become, I will search for you, my lovely baby Alice. Next note, Allostria's orders. By our decree, you are to travel to Malmouth. Expend any resource you require to make the long journey in utmost haste. Once you've arrived, you are to ascertain the progress that has been made under the rule of the Shaper of Flesh. We have reason to believe that his recent actions have diverged from the consensus and now threaten our grand vision. If what we suspect is true, then you are to proceed immediately in returning the Shaper to Erelin and taking his place as the heart of the operations in Malmouth. If, however, we have erred in our suspicions, then report on this miscalculation immediately and ensure that the consensus proceeds as ordained. With their eye falling upon us, we must be swift in our actions. No piece of the puzzle must be allowed to contort itself to its own whims. We will not be jeopardized when victory is so close at hand. Adjunct Orin Vostra, fourth of the Circle of Five. Next note, turn back. I sense purpose within you, traveler, unrelenting aspirations. But in the end, most mortals seek to avoid death. If you do not fear it as you should, then by all means, proceed forward. Do not be so blue in the face. When flame meets flame, so shall the way forward be opened, and our meeting be brought one step closer. Next note, your last chance. The way forward is paved with the bones of challengers such as yourself. All of them fallen within a reality that defies comprehension. Turn back now, while you still can, mortal, lest my realm claim you as well. Next note, you are not welcome. Your persistence amuses me, mortal. You perceive yourself a gladiator in the arena of life, violently clawing your way above the throngs of mediocrity. But here, in my realm, you are just another fool seeking a prize you consider yourself worthy of. In the end, such greed is the root of all evil, flourishing in the wake of blood.